Hello, and thank you for watching this performance. I don't want to explain my modular setup in this video, but very quickly, I have a new trigger module which is called Temps utility that allows me to activate samples in a Rample. The samples in Rample were made from a wooden cutting board. Those were the percussive sounds doing different rhythms around your ears. So bass drum into probability module, into trigger module, to samples, to the clock of the full system, to an arpeggiator, to effects, and a lot of things. And I was also using Hermod to modulate my Autobahn reverb with MIDI. So that was an overview of my modular setup, which I'll most likely explain in another video. What I can show you is how I use the different mics of the drums to give an evolution in the sound and textures of the drum kit throughout the piece. So I'll go into my Ableton session and show you the tracks. So for this particular session, I had installed a snare drum in front of my bass drum to record the chains on every hit. So this is the bass drum, which I cut off all the high frequencies because I only wanted the sub sound and not the attack. And then I went and got the attack from the snare chains. And as you can see, I put a gate on the snare chains and I sidechain with the bass drum so that the chains will really only be heard on a kick. Even though in real life they were activated by the bass drum, all of the kit was also being picked up in the snare. And so just to make sure that it becomes the bass drum attack, I put a kind of inverted gate on that signal. While I was mixing, I realized that my snare mic must have fallen on the floor while I was recording, but it gave a cool sound and I decided to put that through the decapitator. That's where all of the attack is coming from and like the punch. After that, for fun, I decided to use the bottom snare mic. I panned it hard right and also hard left at the beginning. And I put that through a reverb. And at the beginning of the song, it's cut off and it just pops in and out sometimes, a bit as if it was a sample drum kit that was just popping up on top of the real drum kit, but it's all part of the same recording. I like to see the drum mics this way a bit, like you have your main drum kit and you can use some mics just sometimes to make it sound as if it was a sample with the effects, as if you had layered several drums, but actually it's the same performance. Another thing I've been doing recently is put a chorus on the hi-hat mic. I like that this mic has a lot of the high frequency attack of the hi-hat, and by using a chorus, it spreads it on both sides. And so you can have your more aggressive, punchy sound in the middle, and then the detail on the sides. And then for this microphone, it's a EV635 that's placed over the bass drum, pointing at the snare. And it's going through a preamp made by DIYer. So it's the Color Duo preamp. It's extremely squashed and saturated. And for fun, I put a flanger on it. I thought it was interesting in contrast with the other sounds. Because it made it sound a bit lo-fi. So you can start off the video with lo-fi drums, very center with not much detail. And then gradually you have other tracks coming in on the sides that can be felt as if it was a sample. And then the more you go through the piece, the more detail you get with like the hi-hat mic on the sides and the overhead in the center, just to give some sort of progression in the textures. In several videos I've been doing lately, I like to put a delay on the toms. So you get your main attack and the rhythm, but you have this tail that follows after. And for this track, I used binaural placement using Dear VR plugin. If you make very quick movement around the head, you get nice glitches, which I do sometimes. So to go through the drum thing, so it starts off with lo-fi flanger from the center mic, pop up on the side, as if it was a sample. And now the kick drum has come in, sides. Now for those 3 hits, the reverb comes in. So through that, now the snare mic is the punchy in the center. And then when the music changes, you get the overhead that comes in for a bit more detail in the cymbals and the high frequencies, like this. You also get the tom. Hi-hat on the sides. The other edit I did was at a point in the song there was a space and I exaggerated it by cutting out all the drum mics except the one with the flanger and the bass drum. I did that simply to accentuate the flanger sound, but also to accentuate the drop. So that's it for that. I'm always trying to have fun with mixing in videos, and I experiment a lot. First of all, to get better at mixing, to practice ideas for albums in the future, just to see what works, what gives different feelings, and try to do something different every time. I think the main point in all of this is to see acoustic instruments as sound design. And so if you have different mics on a same source, it really becomes sound shaping, not only through EQ and effects on each track, but also when the tracks come in and come out, it becomes some sort of arrangement, as if each track was an instrument of its own. So again, thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to have the sounds that was in the sampler, which is wooden sounds made from a cutting board, you can get them for free on my sample bandcamp. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. So that's it. Thank you. Bye.